Morning, folks. Unitic here. We're into December. I'm about a day south of the Roan mountain Highlands. It's a foggy, kind of wet but rather warm morning, and by the time you see this video you may have watched the last one posted where I was in my hammock feeling pretty low, struggling quite a bit, feeling very sick with the Giardia and digestive problems that have been going on for weeks and weeks now. And so I'm still out here. The next day I got up and it started snowing shortly after I shot that video, and then it changed to rain in the middle of the night, and then I begrudgingly had to get up and break camp in a steady cold rain. Got soaked and then had to hike about 5.5 straight hours into Damascus. Luckily I was coming into town that day, but it was a miserable hike. I couldn't stop or I'd get hypothermic. It was probably, upper 30s, 40 degrees. And by the time I got into Damascus, I was so cold, I thought I was gonna have to go into the subway there and ask a stranger to take my map with the hostel address out of my pocket because I couldn't get my fingers to work. Finally managed to do that and got to the hostel, met my new friend Crazy Larry, who opened the door to a drowned rat and got me in, let me get a good hot shower, did my laundry for me, and I stayed there. That was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Stayed there Wednesday and headed out on Thanksgiving on south of Damascus. By that time we'd had more snow. Wasn't much down low, but it was up high. And the next 3 days I was hiking in 3 to 5 inches of snow and still had my trail shoes. My buddies are meeting me tomorrow actually to bring me my boots for a little more winter weather. But so the snow was beautiful, but I had frozen feet, frozen shoes every morning. I'd have to massage them and break them and bang them to get my feet into them. And then insult to injury, my feet would warm them up and they'd get nice and wet again. I have wet feet all day. So I'm a little bit further behind than I thought I'd be. I wound up taking an extra day at a great hostel called Mountain Harbor on the shoulders of Roan Mountain in Roan Mountain, North Carolina. Mary and Terry are the owners, awesome people. Shannon works with them. Just really, really great people. And I was pretty down through that whole period. The hostel was great, and I'm still not right. I think I'm past the Giardia. I got off the antibiotics after 2 weeks. But the antibiotics will mess up your digestive system too, because they kill the good bacteria along with the bad bacteria. A lot of experts believe about 80% of the strength of your immune system comes from the health of your digestive tract. It's like the root system of a tree. It's how you absorb all the good elements that vitalize your immune system. So bad diet, environmental stresses, chemicals, poisons, toxins, all attack that immune system, which weakens, your digestive system, which weakens your immune system. Sorry about that. Got a little slippery. So I'm taking probiotics as I have all throughout the trip. I'm kind of doubling up on those, trying to rebuild what's called my gut flora, and hopefully get my digestive system re-regulated. Not to be too graphic, but the antibiotics cause constipation, and that's what I'm suffering with now. So I'm not as energetic. I'm not still hungry. It's hard to put something in when you just don't feel like eating. I'm trying to drink a lot, stay hydrated, and see if I can move through this. So anyway, it's been a challenging week, this last week in particular. It's been challenging pretty much for the whole month of November because I've been sick through the whole thing. I'm pretty sure I picked up the Giardia cysts at a water source in southern Maryland right before I crossed into West Virginia and Virginia. So, still moving forward. Really looking forward to seeing my buddies. Tomorrow, Keith's gonna come pick me up and meet the rest of the guys and hike for a few days, and it'll drop me back off on the trail where I last left off, near Hot Springs, North Carolina. I do want to say this has been another experience though of, my mind constantly questioning, why am I having these troubles? Won't they go away? Wishing things were a different way. It's no fun being sick, obviously. And that mental struggle has been probably almost as uncomfortable as the physical struggle and the emotional struggle. But as I paid attention, I had a couple of opportunities to meet people and perhaps be of service to them regarding Lyme disease that I otherwise wouldn't have crossed paths if I hadn't gotten sick. One was on a shuttle ride and had a 30-minute conversation with a person that otherwise I wouldn't have met if I hadn't been sick. And they may have a loved one that's got an undiagnosed chronic case of Lyme. So I'm crossing my fingers that maybe that pans out, because you can be treated. You can recover from a myriad of things from A to Z, from autism to diabetes, ALS, MS, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, heart problems, and there's growing evidence that even cancer could have an underlying cause of, in some cases, of undiagnosed infection, chronic infection. Anyway, and then I got to meet a couple yesterday coming down Roan Mountain. The husband was a vet, very well aware of Lyme disease. The wife was concerned that she had undiagnosed Lyme. And we had about a 20-minute conversation and encouraged them to watch Under Our Skin, documentary free on Hulu.com, and find a Lyme literate medical doctor and get a good clinical evaluation by someone who knows what they're doing with tick-borne diseases. And then also, if you're going to get the lab tests, these substandard tests, at least do it with a tick-borne disease specialty lab who focuses exclusively on tick-borne diseases, because these aren't pass-fail tests. They take subjective interpretation. And then yesterday I had the experience that, again, maybe all things happen for a reason. There's something always being presented in every experience. And as I was hiking up to the top of Roan Mountain, which is above 6,000 feet, I had some really icy patches. And honestly, if I had been there the day before, when they were less melted, I probably couldn't have climbed it without, crampons or yak tracks, which are gadgets that fit onto the bottom of your shoes and help bite into ice. That's what my buddies are bringing me tomorrow, so I can make it through the Smokies in case I get snow and ice. And so even if I had been on my original schedule, I probably would have lost a day there anyway, because I'd had to stop and camp and maybe wait for that ice to melt. It was really slippery, and luckily I hit it on the uphills, which are a little easier on a slippery situation than trying to come down on slippery ice-covered rock. So that gave me a little more peace of mind. Really cool morning this morning. Pan this around a little bit and see some of the fog-covered mountains over there. Roan Highlands, is one of a handful of places. The sun's starting to come up, that you get 6,000 foot plus elevation in on the Appalachian Trail. You know, you get that up north with Mount Washington, some of the Whites, and you get it on Roan Highlands, and then I'll get it again down in the Smokies on Clingman's Dome, which I think is the highest point on the AT, if I recall correctly. I can't remember if it's higher than Mount Washington or not, but it's above 6,000 feet, so you can get some wild weather. And the Roan Highlands is all above tree line, so I feel really lucky. Today's pretty warm. Yesterday was nice. Got a chance of rain today and tomorrow, but it looks like I'm going to get through the high areas of the Roan without, you know, crazy weather like the snow we had out of Damascus, which would have made it really hard to cross Roan in snow without proper gear. So anyway, I feel really grateful that maybe I was able to be of some service to some people I otherwise wouldn't have met if I hadn't caught Giardia. And I feel grateful that you know, I kept my head about me and maybe look for the silver lining in a less than fun situation. So hopefully by the time you see this video, the last of my digestive woes will have resolved themselves. Some people around here might hear a very very loud great googly moogly when that happens. And in the meantime, I'll just try to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. That's all any of us can do. You know, I'll mention this again because you've seen it in my Facebook posts, but family motto from the McCulloch clan that my father wore on his pinky ring, his signet ring, as long as I remember, and I hope I pronounced this Latin properly, it was Et ANIMO, which a pastor from my church recently, I came back, two pastors from a visit to Scotland, and I had translated that as strength and courage, which I think is a direct translation. They had found a translation that said strength and courage, heart and soul. And it's a good motto. Sorry, when I think about that sometimes, I think of my dad, who made his transition last April before I started the trail. And he's been with me out here. I think about him a lot, and a lot of other special people. My son now is wearing his pinky ring. It's the only thing that he really wanted from his papa. So anyway, sorry to get emotional, but you know, if you have emotions, you should feel them and not stuff them away and deny them. That's another form of sickness, source of sickness. So anyway, Et ANIMO, strength and courage, heart and soul, to each of you, and my thanks for all the support and the trail angels like Marguerite and Kevin and Joan, whose kindness and generosity helped me get through this last week, and hopefully keep me moving forward to our shared goal of finishing this trail and continuing to raise awareness for this ridiculously fast growing and little noticed epidemic, at least little noticed by the people in positions of power who have the capacity to do something about it. And we'll continue to work to try and change that situation, and count on good people everywhere that have the ability to make change, stepping up, finding that strength and courage, heart and soul, to do the right thing and put people before profits and humanity before achievement. Anyway, my soapbox again. I'll see you down the trail. Hopefully the next video you'll get to see all my buddies with me, all wearing our Lyme Warrior shirts. And thanks so much for everything. Unitic out.